So the same reminder, if you look in the comments down below or look in the description down below, you can get a link out to our index that indexes all of this meeting. And there's also an extra index that'll go back to ROS Agriculture days that's not done as well, but it does actually work. So this morning, Al and I just went through the Slack stuff. So we went back and I turned on the 30-day free trial, which gives us information back to I think at this point a year back now, because they keep doing things to screw us on that. It started off originally back in ROS Agriculture Day. If you got up to 10,000 messages, your old messages started falling off the back. And then later they said, "Oh well, if you go more than 90 days, we're going to start deleting your messages just to get you to pay." And then they said, "Well, after a year, we're going to throw your messages out completely, and you can never get them back." And so at one point I backed up. Well, the first go around when they said 90 days, I backed up the whole thing and translated it and put it out on my web page. And then today we did a backup that went from I turned on the free trial and I went from the last day of the first one I did until today, and we translated that and it appears to be working. So hopefully by the end of the day or within the week, I will try to copy all that stuff out to my web page. So theoretically, you can go back on Slack to day one of the uh, the ROS lawn tractor automation group and see all the stuff. And we were just scrolling through, and there's lots of pictures and stuff in there. So anyway, that's what we did today, and that was I think we just spent at least an hour doing that. So other than that, I decided I didn't have anything to say because my computer was screwed up when I started. Then we did all that stuff, and I'm totally confused. So that's all I'm going to say, and we'll just turn it over to Al.
A couple of posts that I made on Slack um, showing some progress or things that I've been working on. One is getting an RGB LED to work through a Teensy 3.2, which is at 3.3 volts. The way I did that is got one of these level shifters.
So let me interject there. That's the addressable RGB LED. So it's the one wire LED.
Correct.
Okay.
Um, so you can see it's got the power, ground, and signal. Um, so anyway, I got that to work with an external power that's feeding in 5 volts, which derives that, and the USB is driving the teensy, and we've just got the signal wire and then a common ground. That was one thing to get going, and the goal of that is to come up with a new um, purpose-built remote control. And this is an example of how one guy did his remote control, and he used the NRF 24. He happened to use a Nano, I think, and he's got a couple of potentiometers and joysticks, and I was going to do exactly that, but it's a wonderful example that he walks through, at least in part. Um, One of the things he didn't clarify is how he used the same PCB editing software that I'm familiar with, Easy EDA. Actually, he may have been the first person to mention it. And this was me trying to replicate that particular design because he didn't go through in detail how he did that. So I was just in Fusion 360, which is what this is a screenshot from, there's a way to capture a screen, uh, configure it, or they call it a canvas. So you copy a picture, you make it a canvas, you pick 2 points on the canvas and say what's the size of that particular spot, and then it resizes everything. So luckily in this, he actually mentioned this was 45 millimeters, so I was able to use that as a way to sort of reconfigure that, but it's still a little bit of argy-bargy to follow his steps along that. So at this point, this is actually the Easy EDA user interface, and I've got that design laid out pretty much the way I liked it and started adding components. But again, something odd about EZDA is it's supposed to be able to take the components once you start wiring them up, which I just started with the NRF radio and it wasn't working correctly. So, and by that I mean you're supposed to be able to convert the schematic to PCB, and when you do that, it doesn't carry over the wiring into the other diagram. So I had to start over, which I've done, and the convert schematic works. And so it, trying to zoom in, it then draws the wires. The different colors represent the different layers. So anyway, that's a little bit of progress on that. And you can see I don't have that cut out on the bottom because I'm not, it's a little bit kludgy on how to actually get it from this stage to move that up and down. But anyway, making a little progress on getting that to work. And I decided before I went any further, I was going to use what I had done before and actually get this stuff to work physically all together. And so I've got the LED and the NRF and the level shifter all wired together. Because I had some issues the last time I made a PCB and an ESP32, and not all the pins would actually work the way that I wanted them to. So I'm just double checking before I go through the PCB creation phase. The other thing I did is I have this one toggle switch, which is just an on-off. Well, the center is off. Switch it one way, it's on. Switch it the other way, it's on. And I'm using a couple of 10 ohm, or actually 10K resistors. I can get 3 settings out of that. So I was going to use that as a mode switch. So again, trying to get it to work physically, then put it in easy EDA to come up with a new design that'll be something similar to what this guy did. Now I'll just have a potentiometer here and a potentiometer there, and a toggle switch and a few LEDs along with the NRF, maybe a push button or two, but I don't, in the current configuration, my call it version 1 of a remote control, I don't actually use any push buttons. But so I think that's where I'm at the moment, besides continuing to try to create a NAS drive, which didn't turn out too well. So I'm sort of back at ground zero on that, ordering some disk drives that I'm confident will work. So that's it for me.
I guess I don't have any more either. One more thing I thought of as I was sitting here, because you pulled up that Slack channel and you're showing a picture of that remote control. So just for the heck of it, I pulled up my archive that we just built, and the last entry in there is that remote control. And I was also thinking that on the index it'll say it says, here's what the video is. If you're watching the video, it says, oh, well, we posted this on Slack. So if you take the date of, whatever either from the index or from the video itself is playing, and take that date and then go to pull up one of these Slack files and search for it, you should be able to find all the associated messages around that time to go around with this stuff. Because it doesn't always carry through. Back in the ROS Agriculture days, people would say, "Oh, well, I posted that to Slack," but nobody would ever see it because, after the fact, then all that stuff disappears. But at this point, we should be able to find, some random thing. And I think if you search, here, let me just try something here, make sure I got a date on that. Well, here, let me pull this up so you can see what I'm doing. And that would be this one. And let me see what's going on here. Yeah, it looks right. So this is the our second attempt at backing up everything, and it goes back to, what was it, April
3rd or 4th, I think.
April 2nd of 2024. I need to get this junk out of the way here because you can't see it, but I can. It might be causing problems. Let me make this bigger here. So this starts at 4/3/2024. And so each message has a date on it. So theoretically you can find, just search through here and find the dates. And we were able to get it by turning on the free trial. I was able to get all the pictures, and there might be attached files that may or may not show up. I'm sure you'll find something in here doesn't work quite right, but this is a piece of software somebody wrote to take the exported file from Slack and then build this HTML page out of it. And if you're running it directly on your computer, I should be able to come over here and click on, say, general channel, and it will bring it up. But the way I had to hack this thing, there's actually multiple files out in the directory that if you want to start that up. So if you want to start up the random channel, you open the file called random HTML, or you want the general, you open general HTML. And the general really did, oh, I can't do it. The general really doesn't have anything in it anyway. So I tried to discourage people from day one from creating all these extra channels and put stuff all over the place. So most of the stuff, at least for this last batch of stuff, is all in. So the second backup of Slack is all going to be in this one file in the random channel. And if you go back to the one that's out on my webpage, that was the original, the first attempt at it, it's got 4 channels listed, but the general channel had very little in it. There was an RTK channel that only had 2 or 3 pages, one called the ECU channel, and it only had 2 or 3 pages in it. So basically, if you pull up the random channel for either one, you should be able to go all the way back to, I think it's January of 2021 is when the whole Slack thing started. And so if you just scroll through here, here's all the messages, and it tends to randomly put big images in there, but it's just, again, that's just the way it is. We just have to put up with the way the thing works. And just, so you can either scroll back through this and look for fun stuff to look at, or go back to the index page and find stuff in there to look at, or go to the YouTube page and just look at the little icons. But that none of it tells the whole picture. So you have to tie all this stuff together to look for stuff. There's kind of a cute robot there. So anyway, we got that working, and as I say, I'll try to get that uploaded and try to clean up the structure out there a little bit so it makes a little more sense. Here's where Al was talking about the $60 GPSs that he found. And so anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that we've got that, and that's about all I have to say about that, I guess. So let me
Cool, I'm all set.
yeah, okay, I'm done too. So let me figure out what I'm doing here. Let's see. I could stop sharing, or I could just kill it. No, I can't kill it. Stop sharing. Okay, now. Okay, so now I'll end the meeting. Let's see, do I need anything in my chat? I hate to drag this out, but I want to, I don't know if I needed that stuff in the chat. I want to save that. That should do it. Okay, I'm really done now. So see you next week, maybe. With any luck, I'll see you next week.